In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern where we are looking at very spring-like conditions despite us entering into meteorological summer tomorrow on June 1st. I can't believe it's going to be June, guys. That's just crazy. This year is flying by. We're already almost approaching the halfway mark, which is just insane to think about. We still anticipate cooler than normal conditions, obviously, through the next 15 days, really through all of these model runs. And we're going to be discussing severe weather as well with that. And you might be thinking that cooler temperatures probably lessens the severe weather chance. But the problem is that this cooler weather is actually going to bring us into some patterns that are much more spring-like, as we noted. So April, May, where it's really the heart of the severe weather season. So I actually anticipate that if we get this to affect June, or at least the majority of June, this will actually worsen the severe weather and increase the frequency of severe weather events, and maybe even some of the worst June severe weather we've seen is what I've seen a lot of other meteorologists talking about. I don't know why I just struggle with that so bad. So we're going to be talking about all of this. Also, just heavy rainfall in general. Even if there isn't severe weather for your location, it's very high likelihood that you are going to be seeing some pretty heavy rainfall at times and more precipitation than what's normal. So let's just dive into things. We're taking a look here at the kind of today time frame, and as you can see, Saturday the 31st, we have above normal temperatures in the west. We say this every day and it gets repetitive, but this is what we call a positive PNA. So for those of you that are new and haven't seen this, that just means Western North America is warmer than normal, and this actually forces a lot of the cooler air to spill over into the east. And this is coming from the Arctic Circle. That's why we call it an Arctic blast, because it's blasting down from that Arctic region. And we're really not going to see this switch up too much, except for this little time frame here, where we do get a brief warm-up, as you can see, that does move into the eastern states, but it's transitionary, which means it's moving from west to east, and it's not sitting tight, so this is not going to last very many days at all. We do see the warm air in the west is holding on, which tells us that this cooler air is going to overall win out as long as that feature is still here along the western seaboard. So let's watch this play out. Here's the 5th, 6th, and this is when the cold is fully established back in the east by the 9th. We see warmer than normal conditions here. Over the west coast, cooler than normal conditions, clearly free flowing in from that Arctic region. This is just not going to be normal for June. This is not going to feel like a normal June, at least through the 10th. And as you can see here, as we take it all the way to the 15th, really the whole first half of June probably won't feel very typical. A little bit warmer here, quite a bit cooler in the east. This is an ensemble model, which means that we're taking 30 different models and we're getting the mean average of all of them. So as we get towards the long range like this on 15 days out, they start to all kind of spread out a little bit in their opinions, and that causes things to be averaged out, is what I call it, where we get these very, very slight differentials from what's typical. But really what's important is where's the warmth, where's the cool. We're not really looking for severity, because typically in the long range on these types of models, you're not going to see the exact severity. So we're mostly just looking for where's the blue, where's the red, and it's pretty clear by looking at this image. Now, as we just move into the overall storminess, I really suspect we could be in for more severe weather than what's typical in June. Already, it's a pretty severe month as far as that thunderstorm activity goes, but this could be more reminiscent of an April-May month, which is not typical at all. We do have a nor'easter starting out literally today by this afternoon and evening over the northeast, probably causing heavy rainfall, some stronger winds up there. Pretty dry outside of that around the nation, and Sunday's a lot quieter. We're going to be watching in the days following this frame. We're going to be watching for some low pressure to develop across the Rockies, which will be one of our first severe weather events on this model run. So let's just see. This is Sunday the 1st. Here's Monday the 2nd. And here's that low that is developed over eastern Colorado, 998. There's also a 999 up here over northern Minnesota. So we're looking at some pretty broad low pressure across this region. Now, what we're looking for is a cold front to develop. That's what's really going to bring the hammer down. Tuesday here, we see that your primary low is really in eastern Canada, but really this is acting as the primary low down here in Wisconsin. We get a cold front right here, warm front stretching up to that next low pressure system. So what we're seeing is racing warm air underneath that warm front racing to the north, and then we're getting this cold, dry air slamming that from the side, and that's what causes a lot of rotation, shear, and overall bad severe weather. And we see by Tuesday the 3rd, I mean, this is just a few days from now, we see some pretty bad severe weather developing across parts of the Midwest and plains here. We're going to be watching that very closely. We always go over the Storm Prediction Center outlook, so at the end of the video, we will dive into that, getting those forecasts for you guys. Wednesday, everything kind of flattens out. I do suspect we're still going to be dealing with some severe thunderstorms across this corridor here. Also, some pretty heavy rainfall for the Four Corner states and surrounding states there happening by Wednesday the 4th. Thursday the 5th, another day where there's not a really strong low, but there's clearly some low pressure in here. Clearly a little bit of an acting warm front here. Clearly a little bit of an acting cold front here. So this would be another day where potential for severe weather might be relatively high, Thursday the 5th, for these areas in the southern plains and the lower Midwest, and maybe even the deep south. So again, just kind of continuing that trend of activity. Friday the 6th, lots of thunderstorm activity in this pocket, maybe severe weather like we mentioned. Keeping on here between Friday and Saturday, we see that impact the East Coast. That one moves out, but look at the thunderstorms. I mean, they're everywhere. We get these typical kind of summer, springtime thunderstorms happening around in these areas for the deeper south regions. And then we get this kind of stronger low up there in Canada with a dragging cold front, and this might be enough to cause some severe weather in there as well between the 8th and the 9th. Clearly, we got something big going on by the 10th here, Tuesday, as we have a low here near the Great Lakes. And then what we're seeing is a cold front type structure here, warm front up ahead. So we get the same thing, this racing warm air for a brief moment. It's mostly colder, obviously, through the upcoming pattern, but there is little bits of warming, especially on a 1 to 2 day basis, and that's one of these events here. Then we get the cold, dry air slamming it from the side again. This could be another major severe weather event for these Midwest and Plains areas. Moving towards Wednesday here, we see this arrive mostly for the East Coast. So we're looking at all of these areas seeing thunderstorms and potential for severe weather. That one moves out, and then look what we get. Another low over Wisconsin by the 13th. That's a Friday. Some severe weather underneath, but we're going to see the hours following that cold front elongates across the Ohio Valley, some of the Midwest, Mid-Atlantic as well, causing more areas seeing those thunderstorms. And between Saturday and Sunday, we see the eastern seaboard getting it. If you can't tell, this is a very active pattern. This is crazy and definitely going to be more severe events than what you would typically expect in June, as we've noted throughout the video. Looking at the total precipitation, all of this activity is going to cause just huge amounts, especially across the reds, where most of these areas will be at least average, if not above average as far as precipitation. Some areas even being twice what they average. So the blues in here, this is your anomalies. This is compared to normal. We see a little bit drier for the Northwest, a little bit drier for the South Central states, the deep South Central states, but much more precipitation than what's typical throughout these green and blue areas here. So for the most part, there's little dry pockets in the Mid-Atlantic. That's going to be hard to predict on these models, though. So that might be somewhere else. It might not be there at all. But in general, most of these areas are far above average. And again, the blues is where we're twice what is your average for the next 2 weeks. So you probably average 1 to 2 inches of rainfall over a 2-week period. This is looking at the 15-day period. So if you're seeing 2 inches above average, which is what the blue is, then you are double your average, which is just a huge amount of rainfall. Let's take a look at the Storm Prediction Center outlooks. Here's day 1 for Saturday, May 31st, and we see a few general thunderstorm risk areas in the lighter greens, and that's where we expect general thunderstorms, but anything is possible, so heed every watch, warning, and advisory. The 3 darker green areas is going to be your level 1 marginal risks, where we expect isolated severe weather to occur. And then your yellow area there across parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas is your level 2 slight risk, where we expect more scattered about severe weather to be occurring today. For tomorrow, on Sunday, June 1st, we see 2 general thunderstorm risk areas. One is much larger than the other. 3 marginal risk areas there, scattered about the nation. And then 1 slight risk again for Texas. Day 3, on Monday the 2nd, we get 2 general thunderstorm risk areas, a marginal risk and a slight risk again. So we're not super elevated These are still dangerous days, but these aren't outbreaks by any means. And then we even have the extended day, day 4 here, Tuesday the 3rd. This area across Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Iowa, Illinois, and Wisconsin, that is going to roughly translate to a slight risk once it's within the 3-day range. So we're going to be looking for this tomorrow and the days following this. I really feel like we're going to see a lot of activity this upcoming month for severe weather. So stick with us. Be sure to subscribe. We upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.